Hi everyone. It's such a joy to be here. A heartfelt thank you to the Indian Public School for having me. What I'm going to share with you today comes from two places. What I've learned from positive psychology and how I've applied it in my own life. Both have shown how just powerful self-talk can be. I've learned how to savor and celebrate life from two of my favorite people, one in her 80s and one just 6. My grandma was light-hearted and joyful even in her 80s. She found joy in the simplest of things, relishing seasonal fruits, feeding the street dogs, and greeting strangers with a smile. Her voice was gentle, appreciative, and full of wonder. And then there's my little girl, Tia. She often says, "Mommy, today is my lucky day." I ask her why, and each time I get a different answer. She says, "I got to go to school. I got to play with you. I got to eat mangoes." Each time with the same sparkle in her eyes. My grandmother and my daughter got me curious about something. How would the inner voice sound? Have you stopped and noticed the voice in your head? The one that says, "You should have done better." Or sometimes it's okay, you've given your best. That voice narrates every move. Did not appear out of nowhere. It was built word by word, tone by tone in childhood. The voice of our parents or parental figures often became our own. Their tone of correction became our inner critic. Their way of comforting us became the way we soothed ourselves. That voice decides the way we treat ourselves when life becomes messy, confusing, or painful. I'm Dr. Rosario, a counseling psychologist and positive psychology coach. Through therapy, coaching, and my own life experience, I've learned the way you talk to yourself determines the way you walk through life. Most of us, when we were children, we were not asked two simple yet powerful questions. What do you think and what do you want? Imagine if someone had asked you often, "What do you want?" Wouldn't your sense of self have formed differently? Instead, we were told what to think and we were told what we should want. And slowly, our voice began to fade. Child development research calls this autonomy support, giving children a say, a choice, and a voice. And research indicates that it's a strong predictor of confidence, decision-making, and emotional health later in life. I spent nearly a decade in the United States of America, which changed my view of parenting. I observed something very simple, the way adults spoke to children. They did not bark instructions, they asked questions. What do you think? Which one would you like? Do you need my help, or would you like to try yourself? These everyday questions were not small talk. It's emotional training. It's how a child learns introspection. It's how the child's inner voice gets shaped. Because a child who hears these questions often learns, my opinions matter. I can choose. I have a voice. And when they grow up to be adults, they don't have to fight hard to be heard. Instead, they grow up to be adults who listen even to themselves. But what if you never trained yourself to listen to your voice? What if your voice always came last? That was me. I grew up being praised for being the most adjusting person in the family. I wore it like a crown, a badge of honor. But underneath it was quiet confusion and constant compromise. I thought being good means putting up with discomfort. At the age of 36, which was 2 years ago, I started asking myself a question no one else asked me before. Anne, what do you want? And that changed everything. I realized I was talking in the language of don'ts. I don't want conflict. I don't want chaos. I don't want to be hurt. Now, I talk in the language of wants. I want calm. I want connection. I want truth. That shift from avoidance to aspiration gave me clarity, peace, and direction. We all carry many stories of who we think we are, what we are capable of, and what we've been through. Each story has two sides. One is the event, the happening itself, and the next one is the meaning we gave to it. Because two people can go through the same experience but say different stories about it. For one, it could be the end of life, and for another, it can be a turning point. Both are true depending on what you choose to live by. In July 2021, I fell off a deck and shattered my heel bone. It was a devastating experience for me, but I learned a lot from it. The doctor first said, "I'm sorry for the bad news. You may not walk again." I said, "Thank you, doctor." Surprisingly, I was calm, and I questioned even if I had heard him right. Because ideally, I should have panicked. The quiet voice within me whispered, "You will be fine, no matter what." And that reassuring voice helped me to handle the situation with hope. I learned many important lessons from that incident. I learned how true loss feels like. I permanently lost the sideways movement in my feet. I can't walk faster. I can't walk on uneven ground. I have to calculate my energy every day. I go to bed with pain and I wake up with pain. But the gift here is I truly understand what my clients go through. Second, I understood now is the time to use your gifts. For 34 years, I had perfect feet. I could have gone for a long trek, an international tour. I did nothing. And then I started asking myself, at least I walk now. What can I do with what I have? I do enjoy small walks, small trips, a comfortable hour of shopping. I make intentional time with my kid. And I'm so convinced that my life purpose is to be a therapist. And third, I discovered the power of giving. If someone hadn't donated their bone, I wouldn't be standing here today. If someone hadn't donated their blood, my surgery wouldn't have been possible. The doctors, nurses, physiotherapists all gave their best in spite of fighting their own life battles. My friend Cindy was with me for a year, gave me my care, laughter, and patience. My family and friends supported me with their time and love. I wouldn't be standing here if so many people didn't offer their kindness. Yes, it was a painful event, both physical and mental. I allowed myself to go through the pain. I sat with my emotions. I was sad, angry, and confused, but slowly I found meaning with it. It's called post-traumatic growth, positive change that can occur after a devastating event. After a hardship, our self-talk often becomes fearful and self-protective. We say, "I won't trust again, I'm not strong enough." But the challenge is to rewrite that script. Instead of saying, "Why did this happen to me?" if we can say, "This happened to me for teaching me something new, to show me my strengths, to shape me into who I am becoming," that shifts wounds into wisdom. Because when we think we are broken, we live as if that's true. When we function like I'm healing, we move with hope, courage, and lightness. Because our self talk is not just an inner voice, it's the author of our life. Our ability to name our emotions is crucial in self talk. It sounds simple, but it's quite life changing. One evening, my daughter was sending some heart emojis to a friend. And suddenly she started crying. A minute later, I asked, "What happened? Are you sad? Are you disappointed?" She said, "No, I'm not sad. I'm embarrassed." Embarrassed at 6? I did not have that vocabulary when I was 6 years old. That simple moment showed me the power of emotional vocabulary. Because if you can name your emotions, you know what you're dealing with and you can manage it better. I see many young adults in therapy who say, "I should not be feeling this way. I should not feel broken. I have to be strong all the time." We all have invisible rules about how we have to feel. We can cry, but not too much. We can be angry, but only if it's justified. We always have to be strong. True strength is not hiding emotions. It's being kind to yourself and feeling them deeply. Because every tear, every fear, every joy, all of it is part of being human. Even after years of following those rules, you can still reconnect with yourself. Positive psychology offers us a lot of tools which can help us understand and nurture our well-being. One tool offered by Dr. Daniel Siegel is called Notice, Name, Navigate. Name. What is happening inside of me right now? Am I feeling hot or cold? Is my chest feeling tensed? Are my shoulders tight? Does my head feel heavy? Is my hand sweaty? Is my legs shaky? What is happening inside of me? Next, you name. What am I feeling? Am I feeling anxious, frustrated, nervous, joyful, hopeful? What is it? The third one is navigate. What do I want here? Perhaps I want some calm. So what can I do? One small step towards feeling that calm. Because true emotional strength begins when you start to notice what is happening inside of you and your ability to name it. Honoring your emotions opens the door to something much more deeper, true belonging. The real tragedy is not others excluding us. The biggest pain is when you don't include yourself. The first person you need to include, acknowledge, celebrate is me. When your self-talk says, "I am enough, I matter, I belong," everything changes. You start to radiate from inside out. And people start to notice that as well, because they respect your time, they honor your boundaries, and they notice your voice. It all boils down to what you focus on. If I say, "Don't think of a pink elephant," what did you just picture? Exactly the pink elephant. That's how our brain works. It doesn't understand the word don't. When we focus on what we don't want, we feed anxiety. When we focus on what we want, we activate hope. If we can focus on our character strengths, kindness, curiosity, and courage, we will find the tools to build the outcome that we want. Because focus is so powerful. Wherever you direct it, it grows. It's like a sunlight. It helps you rebuild your personal power. It gives you perspective, control, and choice to set good boundaries, to protect your energy, to make better decisions. Self-talk is like a compass, decides your direction. Focus is like the engine, it fuels your movement. When your compass is right, even small steps can create big shifts because your energy, your focus, and your choices all are in alignment with each other. So ask yourself today, what am I focusing on? Because that focus can become your story. Whose voice is it? Is it my teachers, my parents, or is it mine? Maybe it's time to reclaim it, to make it kind, to make it compassionate, and to make it finally your own. Because what you focus on is who you are. And when your focus aligns with your truth, your self-talk becomes your superpower. I repeat, when your focus aligns with your truth, your self-talk becomes your superpower. Thank you.